Welcome to the Recycle Podcast, where we discuss everyday issues from a mental health perspective. We are your hosts, Dr. Rashonda Strickland,
Dr. LaFanya Jones-Hines,
and Dr. Nichelle Wall. Now, don't get it twisted. We're not going to be your stereotypical therapist.
What we will be is informative, down to earth, a little spicy, and vulnerable.
All right, interns, turn up your volume, grab your pen and paper. It's supervision time. As a reminder, this podcast is not meant to take the place of a relationship with a licensed mental health professional.
Welcome back to session 46, Disconnected Connections.
Boy, I know y'all be loving our titles.
Like, man, they just be doing the most out there.
I know.
It's because we're artists and we're sensitive about our
Thank you, Erykah Badu, for that line. Mm-hmm. Okay, intern. So today's session is going to be all about your tribe,
your friends,
your circle,
your squad,
your clique,
and your crew. Them heifers that you be chilling with.
Yes, all that.
So basically, even though we just kind of gave y'all a short word definitions, it's basically your community of people that you share interest with, and they provide you support.
One of the funny things about having an inner circle, it makes me think of people that are loners and say, well, I don't need nobody. I don't need no friends. It's like, you know what? You are a human being. We all need somebody at some point in time. Being alone is not what we are built for. Mm-hmm. Now, while you may want solace and solitude at some point in time, you need people. Mm-hmm. So when that time comes, are the people in your life quality people? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And anytime I have those clients who make that statement of, I don't need anybody, I tell them, even from birth, unless it's something going on, they immediately put the baby on the mama's chest because it's in our innate nature to need someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the thing is, if you ever were to study like energy psychology, this is not a Psych 101 because we're not going to deep dive in that. You realize how much we depend on each other's energy, each other's spirit, each other's whatever that we have connecting us to get vibes from. Like when people say, ooh, we got good chemistry, ooh, we got good vibes, that's your energy. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that you need in order to be connected. Here she goes.
I know.
Yeah,
here she goes.
Dr. Strickland got that look on her face. She tried to deep dive.
I'm about to do it.
I was ready to when she said, but I'm gonna stay in line because these my friends too. And she said this was not a Psych 101, so we gon'.
I mean, if you need to add a little bit, but don't go far.
We're not deep diving because that does take a lot. But I agree with you, and I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist. So,
even though you are,
I am, totally. And my husband will tell you I've been watching conspiracy theory videos all weekend.
Oh God, this may not be the right video, the right session to do.
So, but I agree with you, Dr. Wall. Mm-hmm. On what you said about vibing. Yeah. And how do you determine what those vibes are? We have all kinds of levels of friends or people in our relationships or our lives. And sometimes we don't take stock on who this person is, how this person is, involved in our life and what way we want them to be involved in our lives. We don't set the boundaries that are necessary based off the type of friend that they are. There's so many different ways that you have to look at once you become an adult. How people are involved with you, what kind of access these people have to you. It's much more complex than, when we're in third grade, because, those kinds of situations, you're kind of forced into a confined area. You're forced to be around people for, multiple hours a day, multiple days a week. And there's an expectation that you will form a relationship with somebody. Yeah. You're often pushed into having friendships with certain people. But once you become an adult, it's like, okay, so.
Yeah, you no longer have the friends by proximity thing. Like because you're around me, oh, I get to be your friend. We get to build a relationship. I think that's why when we've had so much social turmoil in the last 10 years, that people have been looking at folks that they grew up with like, oh, I never knew you. I didn't know your family thought like this. I didn't, all of that kind of stuff, because you grew up and went to, elementary through high school probably together. Some people went on to college together, and then you look and something drastic happens in our country that changes the infrastructure, and you're like, oh shoot, I don't really know you. You don't like me. And
That's
so it kind of rocks everything about you. And then that kind of leads you to think, okay, maybe I wasn't as deeply connected to this person as I thought. It was just convenient.
Yeah, and it's difficult to have those deeper relationships with people after you become an adult, because a lot of people don't want to become friends with people they work with, because it's like, I don't want nobody in my business. And so you don't even want a friend, accept friend requests from people on your job,
Baby, block.
Yeah.
Well, we ain't got that many at this spot,
right?
So that's a good
I think
thing.
all of us are friends here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at some previous places, blocked with the T on them, blocked.
When
Ignore.
found them and blocked them.
Right.
Yes,
And
before you
ignore
even
the
get a chance.
request.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it makes it more difficult to, especially when you have a family, you have children, and your life really just revolves around your children and your spouse, and it's just, I don't know. I think it just becomes more difficult. I think that's why a lot of married couples don't have a life, because it becomes more difficult to have a extended friendship or friendships with people, because you don't necessarily even want to have a relationship with your neighbors either.
Boy. Yeah, I would say, well, I have two thoughts. My first, I'll go ahead and say what, no, actually, let me back that up. So what do you guys think is the most difficult type of circle or friendship to develop? Do you think it's you developing friends as a single person or developing couple friends?
I would say couple friends.
I would say couple friends as well. I'm a single person. So, well, first of all, I'm an introvert, so I don't really care anyway. But when I am a single person, it's just me. I don't have to really worry about that. When you get into a couple, you really want to be like wise with who you choose. Number one, because you always have hotheads in your group, so you got to make sure they mesh well with whoever the new couple is. Are they really about marriage? Do they have the same boundaries and beliefs? And not like clones of each other or anything like that, but it's more so, okay, are you gonna come in and jack our relationships up? It's kind of like what's the boy name, Mike in
I swear I was thinking that.
Yes, because like Mike, everybody technically loved Mike when they grew up, no problem. He got married to Sheila, but then he a dog. He been a dog the whole time, but it's a whole other level when now you have tied yourself to someone and you intentionally sabotage other people's relationships too.
And then I think you have to also look at, like, when you develop friendships with couples, do the couples have the same mindset of loyalty? Like,
That part.
If you if me and Dr. Strickland and Dr. Wall hanging out and we all got spouses, can their spouses trust us to be encouraging enough to, not be out there just doing whatever?
Yeah, like prime example, Dr. Jones Hines and I were talking earlier, and I said that I saw her hubs, and they had just left for lunch or whatever, and I saw him. I guess he dropped something off in his office, in her office, as he normally does, because he's a sweetheart. And I see him like, hey, Mr. Hines. And he's talking about, hey, Dr. Wall. And so, like, you want people around your significant other, especially because they are newlyweds, like that are trustworthy.
Yeah.
What I look like being all inappropriate, laying across him or doing something, you know what I mean? You want to have good vibes with the people that are in your life, and you want to be able to be like, man, I know if he needed something, he would be able to go to her. He may not ever go to her, but he could if he needed to. And you can't really say that with everybody in your world. So
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because, baby, my husband will call LaFanya in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Yeah.
A heartbeat. He's much better about it now than what he used to be. But let us be on some stuff.
Come get your friend.
And it don't, y'all, I'm telling y'all, it don't even matter what time it is. It could be 2:00 in the morning. He'll send me, can you check on your friend?
Yes.
He may not call, but he'll send me a text.
It's irritating, but I love that he has that relationship is there to be able to do that. So that lets me know that there is, it's love across the board.
That's what you dream of as a kid. Like, you want to be able to do the girls trips or the boys trips, but you also want to be able to do the couples trips, and you want to be able to have your significant other be comfortable with your bestie and things like that. It just don't always happen because some people are crappy.
Yeah, that is true.
So I think I would agree with you ladies as well, that I think developing couple relationships are extremely difficult because you have two sets of interests that actually you have four sets of interests, or six, or however many sets of couples there are. You have all of these different mindsets that are trying to come together to form a bond, and that can be very difficult, especially the more people that you add to the circle. That now you have to check in with so many, get so many opinions, agree on so many different things, and it becomes much harder for everybody to stay on the same page, for these two not to click up with these two and then be talking about these other ones on the side. It can be
a lot.
Yeah. That's what a lot.
Yeah, I think it then becomes a job to have friendships, just like it's a job to be married, but it becomes a job to have these friendships.
And then it's like, what's the point? Because I don't want to have to work that hard. Like, I get there are like ebbs and flows in relationships, but I don't want to have to be like constantly fighting for this relationship. Like, I've had friendships like that, and I'm like, I'm just gonna have to let you go. Like, it's too much. Like, if I'm exerting this amount of energy, and why am I holding on? Am I holding on just because it's familiar and whatever? Maybe you just were just supposed to be in my life for a season, and now the season is over, and I need to be okay with that.
Yeah, and I think that comes with self-reflection. Like, we, in order to have friendships, whether it's in your single life or your married life or after college or during college or whatever, you have to do some self-reflection and know what type of relationship you're looking for, know what you're looking for, know what you're missing in your life, because you can't provide everything to yourself. So know what it is that you're missing in your life and seek after that. But and also make sure you can reciprocate what you're seeking after as well.
What do you bring to the table?
Yes.
That's how you should meet any new relationship, not just friendship or whatever. Like, what am I bringing to the table? Because I can't just come and take and I don't give anything.
Yeah. And then what do you really enjoy? Everybody know that I love dancing. So if you a dancer, you got me. It don't even matter what kind of dance you do. Like, we can go just do some pole dancing. It don't even matter. I'm on it.
She's trying to call me out. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's
I'm trying to get her over there to wiggle.
That's all right, because I'm going to put on some music and she's going to be over in that corner bucking.
And the thing is, it doesn't always have to be all commonalities that you have. Y'all will have some differences as well. And the thing is, just because y'all have differences, it doesn't even mean y'all can't bond on the differences, because we may be able to teach somebody about those differences. And then it's like, oh, I didn't even know that that's what hiking was. Like, let me go hiking with you.
I don't want to be one of those friends. So don't invite me. Like, I got my badges in Girl Scout. It's too much stuff out there. I don't want it.
When you think about developing individual friendships, what do you find is, so, we have quality over quantity, right? When you think about quality, deep versus surface, because both of those types of friendships are applicable and beneficial in their own way. So what quality can you ladies see in a surface friendship? And what quality, of course, do you see in a deep friendship?
Good question, Dr. Strickland.
Thank you. I'm trying to see, I didn't get to do my deep dive on the energy, so I'm trying to do the deep dive everywhere else.
I don't really have one for the surface level because I think for me, I don't really do well with surface level friendships. I really wouldn't say that I have acquaintances. I have people who are friends with my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a friend that connects us, but I'm not out here reaching out to you or doing anything beyond that. So I can't really speak on that because I hate surface level stuff, small talk. That bothers me. But as far as the deep, I'm looking at like your integrity, who your spirit is, like who you are in your core. Because that really, with me being as like sensitive as I am, I really have to have good people around me. And I don't mean like you out here following whatever you done come up with your morals or whatever, but just an all around healthy, good person.
I would say for me at this point in my life, my surface level, it's so hard for me to answer that question because some of my surface level people have been connections that I made through my profession. And so they have been like my connections to different things, to speaking and, you know, just different things. But then because we have a good surface connection, they end up being into my being, I don't necessarily want to say deeper because I may not talk to them regularly, but I would say, I would have to say it's a little bit more than surface at that point. Like it eventually goes into a little bit more than surface, but not deep. I don't know if I explained that well, but
I think I get where you're going.
And then my deep relationships, I would say those are the ones that for you to be in my deeper circle, you have to be a real person. Like you have to be able and willing to call me out. You have to be a real person. You have to be a genuine person. You have to be a loyal person, and you have to be somebody I can trust because I don't give my trust away easy. So if you're not those things, and you have to be just all around a good person, like you can't just be doing ratchetness, and I just can't do it, you know, because although I'm not I'm not afraid of a fight, but I'm not looking for one.
Gotcha. You said them days are over, huh?
Yes.
Okay. You know, I think that for me, surface level friends, I think they give an element of ease. You know, I think that's the quality that a surface level friend can bring to my life. You know, it's just easy. You know, there's no expectations. There's no, you know, we're not holding each other to a certain standard. So that friendship is one that can just glide, you know. I think for a deeper friendship, the quality, sometimes I'm loyal to a fault. And I think for me, I expect that in return, even though it doesn't always happen.
You want you out of
Is this surface or deep?
This is deep.
Okay.
This is deep. Yes.
What did you say, Dr. Wall?
I said she wants herself out of people.
Yeah. And I also want somewhat of my opposite. So I would say that all of my like very deep friendships, they are not like me at all.
I agree with that.
You know, I'm thinking about some of my childhood, you know, I guess best friends, you know, my best friend that I met in college, as well as, you know, both of you ladies, you know, like none of these women are like me. So I do think that for me to have a deep friendship that has quality, I need someone that can balance me out or pull certain things out of me that I don't have. So yeah, I would say that would be my needs.
That I think that's a good point that you just made, pull things out of you, because I think that's a part of being willing to try new things. And when you expose yourself to new things, like you kind of just expand your mind, expand your experience, and that's how you develop connections with people. Because even if you try it one time and don't like it, it's like, I don't like it, because as you all have heard us say, I hate Tex-Mex.
No beans, no beans.
But I do go with Dr. Strickland because that's her favorite. you know, so but that's what our friendship is about. Like, it's not just about me. I do know that in order for us to continue to have connections, we have to do things that each other like, as well as Dr. Wall. There are some things that Dr. Wall may not like and that I like, or vice versa, and we have to still do the things that we don't like.
Yeah, I think everybody has to have a little bit of challenger in a relationship, because you have to hold each other accountable. Be better, do better. I'm one of them people, don't come and tell me you want to do something, be like, so when you doing it? What plan we need to put together? Okay, you want to do this? Many of my friends or cousins or whatever, no, don't come tell me you talking about you want a degree. Okay, you want me to sign you up?
I was just getting ready to say that.
I've already contacted the school for you.
Exactly.
Please don't come telling me what you trying to start, what business you trying to start, because I already done looked it up and figured out how much money you need, when you need to, what kind of business plan you need to create, with how much. Yes, we getting ready to do it.
Yeah. I think another thing, you know, just as far as deep friendships, you know, if you're talking about building or establishing relationships or continuing ones, is while I also want someone that is essentially an opposite, I do want some complementary things as well. Yeah. You know, because you do want to have something that you can connect on, that you do relate on. Yeah. And I'm a huge like conversation person. So like any of the like personality tests, like Myers-Briggs, DISC, you know, the Gallup strengths or whatever, I always end up with, and even the love languages, I always end up with quality time or relator or whatever the other, you know, kind of.
What's y'all's Myers-Briggs?
Ooh, girl.
I'm an IS. I feel like mine's wrong.
You just don't like it. Don't do that.
I'm an ISTP.
Oh, you one of the weird ones.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I feel like
remember.
I'm ISFJ.
Really? Okay. Do you remember what yours is?
I haven't taken it. I want to say it was E.
I can see that.
Whatever. Oh gosh, something E. ENFJ.
I feel like you might be a E. I definitely see the E.
Excuse me, that's me.
I would say you are an F.
And I can see the J.
I can see the J.
I can't remember what.
I don't know if the N part. I'm not sure.
I can't remember if it was. Because it was so long ago. I need to take it again, but I haven't taken it in so long.
Yeah. And for everybody wondering, Myers-Briggs is a personality test that kind of identifies like how you show up in the world, and there are some that are very common. Especially like for teachers and therapists, like mine is an ISFJ. It's a very common one. And then you have more rare ones like Dr. Strickland's that pop up, but it kind of looks at 4 main different things. You have introversion versus extroversion. You have sensing versus intuiting. Then you have feeling versus sense. Is it sensing?
I thought I was thinking.
Feeling versus thinking. And then you have judging versus, what's the P?
Ooh. Oh gosh, I can't remember what the P is.
Perceiving, maybe.
Yeah, I believe so.
So and y'all can Google this up if it's something that y'all want to look at. Go to 16 as in the number personalities.com, and you can take like a quick version of it. It's not going to be the actual Myers-Briggs because ain't nobody sitting for that long.
Yeah, it's a long one.
But it's a very quick one. And you'll also get the -T or A that goes on to that, and we won't go into depth on that one, but
because that's not what this session is for.
No, but it is a good way to kind of figure out who you are.
And I totally forgot where I was going with that comment. Oh, similarities. Yeah. So, you know, I want someone that can compliment as well as, you know, challenge and be, you know, an opposite of sorts to me, because you want to be able to connect, you know. Oh, that's where I was going. See, sometimes you just got to run it back a little bit. So all of these, you know, personality inventories or whatnot, I usually come out with some version of quality time / relationship. And, you know, I am very much so a one-on-one person. And I think I've said this on previous sessions before, that when I'm with a person, like I focus on that relationship and like essentially all all others kind of fade away to the background. And I just, it's hard for me to focus on multiple friends at one time. So I tend to have a very, very small group of individuals that I consider friends. I have, associates and acquaintances, but like friends is very small, because it's, for me, it is very difficult to focus on, I have 6 friends. It's just too much for me.
To give a large portion of yourself, so you may not be someone that wants to do these small percentages. So if you are like that, how are you going to divide yourself that many times? Like, you really going to be exhausted.
Yes.
Yeah, I think after maybe high school, I think I stopped trying to have that many friends, because I don't want it.
I don't want it either. And I think for me personally, growing up in the dance world, when you're young, you assume that everybody you dance with is your friend until they stab you with their stiletto in your back. So, you learn the hard way when you're in certain groups, and because dance is such a competitive thing, you just never really know who is in your corner or not. So I knew for me, I wouldn't be able to do that. And with me being introverted, me being a dancer, I can turn into somebody else, but when I have to be Nichelle, or as people who I like call me, Nene, I can't do that.
Oh yeah, I've said that before in the past. Like, I can always tell how somebody knows me. It's not quite as firm now as maybe 10 or 15 years ago. But anybody that called me Rashonda, or Reshonda from my mom, but anybody that called me Rashonda, I knew you weren't my friend. I knew you knew me from school, or you knew me from work. Because anybody that was my friend or family called me Shonda. And I rarely ever introduce myself as Rashonda. But now, as I've gotten older, it's only people that know me like throwback that still call me Shonda. Most people now call me by my full first name. So it's sometimes a little bit harder. Like, oh dang, well, this person didn't start off that way, but has now transitioned into being a friend, a deeper, relationship, and, making that switch that this nickname that I had doesn't equate anymore to you belong in my inner circle.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because even, again, with the nickname, people from even college, bachelors, I don't think anybody from a master's, but bachelors call me Fonnie. But now, like you said, like everybody now calls me LaFanya. And I don't know if that's because I'm in my career now. And so, but even the people back in the day, they still call me Fonnie, and they know I'm a professional, or they call me Dr. J. But most of the time they call me Fonnie. So it is difficult to determine if, but I guess I still consider them to be in my deep circle, because although I may not talk to them like on a daily basis, when I do talk to them, it's like we pick up where we left off.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said, yeah.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's certain tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM.
I think that's a good kind of segue into talking about, when we're discussing building your circle. But building your circle can also mean placing people in the correct category that they belong in.
Yeah.
So we had a list of like different types of friendships that you kind of can have. So that's also, guys, when we say building, we don't just mean adding people to your circle.
So that's the quantity.
Right. That's quantity. When we talk about quality and building a tribe, you have to categorize people in the areas that they belong in. So, while Dr. Wall is kind of bringing it up, an example of that is Sarah Jane, your brunch friend. And this is just somebody you can go have brunch with. You can kick it and talk about very surface level things, but she doesn't belong in, who you would run to if you lost your job, or if your partner had an affair. She's not going to be that person that you're going to go run to and talk about that with, because she's just a brunch friend. And also that comes along with that is remembering and not overvaluing the place that you believe you hold in somebody else's life. So you may believe that you are a part of somebody else's deeper circle, but you're really their brunch friend.
Yeah, because it's not always reciprocal.
No.
Right.
So when we talk about building a tribe, it's a two-way. You have to look at where other people belong in your life, but assess where you actually belong in other people's.
So pay attention to how the conversations are. If you're the one that's sharing everything, and you can go to them pertaining your problems or troubles or anything, and they're not reciprocating that, you probably need to evaluate where you are in their life, because usually if it's a deep relationship, both are sharing and giving.
And you are not a friend to them as they are to you.
Which is okay. You just need to acknowledge it and own it.
Yeah, and you have to see the friendship for what it is, because that's how a lot of people end up being hurt, because you think the relationship is different from what it actually is, and you get hurt if say for instance, if they are the ones who are having troubles in their relationship and they don't come and talk to you, and you find out, and now you're hurt because I thought we were closer than that. Why didn't you come and tell me? Well, have they ever shared that type of information with you while y'all at brunch?
Yeah. Sometimes people are no longer trustworthy. Sometimes, people are territorial. Like it's just so many different reasons why relationships can't go to a deeper level across the board. So you do just need to be mindful of how you're presenting and how they are presenting. So, well, we have more than a couple really, types of friends, and we got this information from medium.com. The first one that we have is a first friend, and a first friend is someone you've known for a long time, and they came probably into your life when you were a kiddo, like elementary, middle school, whatever, and they have just always been that first friend. Now, with the first friend, I think it's important that you can have two sides of it. Either this person is going to grow with you and y'all are going to continue to develop together, or the familiarity of them being the first friend keeps y'all together. And in those relationships, they tend not to be healthy.
So I still have, I would say I still have because I still have my first friend, but we're just friends on Facebook. But I do still have my elementary school best friend. And I think, she lives in Memphis, so obviously distance keeps us from continuing to be close. And then we went in different directions, but it wasn't different directions in an unhealthy way. It was, we both went to college, then she got married. I went on to continue in school, and I'm just now getting married. So we lived we're living two different lives. But whenever we call each other, we'll spend hours on the phone and we'll just pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
I have a friend like that. I don't know if she listens to the podcast, but she probably won't remember us becoming friends the way that we did. But we were friends in middle school, and this young lady was rough and tough
with her Afro puffs.
Hey.
Okay. You talk about fighting. She ain't think twice about it. And I was, and I've said this before in previous session, I was a very shy, meek, young teenager. And somehow me and her became friends, and we would be like the odd couple because like, wait a minute, you're friends with, you know, I'm just gonna call her Jane. So you're friends with Jane, and it's like, yeah. And it even came to the point where we became friends so much that she actually lived with us for some time.
Okay.
But she would be my first friend. And it's a very similar kind of situation. You know, I went off to college, and then, you know, she went off to, you know, do some other things career wise. And we can go years without speaking to each other. But when we do, it's that same thing. It's like
Reconnect.
Reconnect. It's as if no time has passed. And you know, I know that she is somebody that will forever be a part of my life.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, sometimes we can go 3-4 years without speaking to each other, but
Yeah, I'm my best friend's children's godmother, so I'm not going nowhere.
And I think that's important to know. You don't have to talk to somebody that you're close to every single day. That's not required. Some relationships will need that, definitely, but not all.
Yeah.
Like I have, you know, one of my god babies, mom, you know, shout out to Danny. Shout out to you, girl. You know, we've been friends for a minute and we don't talk all the time, but let something be popping off or let, you know, just random things be going on. It's like no time has lapsed at all.
yeah. So first friends, they can be good. It's just always in how you maintain.
Yeah, definitely. The next one is a fair weather friend. Now, this friend is going to be someone who's around for the good stuff. They want to hear about all the cute things, the exciting moments. This is not a person who's necessarily going to do life. So if your leg fall off, they not really probably going to be there for you. You know, they can be a little, you know, standoffish. They don't really want to handle the emotional things. And you often probably will be reevaluating your friendship with this person, and not necessarily because they're toxic or bad, but maybe because you put them in the wrong position in your life, thinking that they were supposed to be something else.
Yeah. Because sometimes we associate happy with deeper than what it really is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't think I have any fair weather friends in my life. I don't think.
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't think I do at this stage of life. 'Cause I'd be
Yeah, I
like,
was
I'm
like,
sure I
maybe,
have. Yeah.
at one point in
Yeah.
time, but not now.
yeah. Y'all know I'm resurrecting right now from the depths of breast cancer. So no, it's be like, nah, you brush everybody aside when you go through something traumatic like that. You're like, I ain't got time. You talking about how I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna get these coins from to pay for this chemo or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it shifts over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one, fake friends. This is the person in your life who you refer to as a friend in conversation, but it's really more like an acquaintance, but it's also can be like a frenemy. Like there's other stuff going on in the background. They could be, you know, gunning for you and you don't know it. It could be the nice nasty, or it could just be like someone in your circle who you really don't mess with like that, but because of the proximity, you keep dealing with this person.
Oh yeah. A friend of a friend.
Yeah, I don't think I have any more of those in my life either.
I don't know if I ever had any fake friends. I mean, if I did, I was completely blind.
Yeah.
And they just weeded themselves out, or the relationship just naturally kind of fell apart. But I can't recall ever having anybody in my life that was fake.
I don't think I've had anybody in my friend group that was fake. I think I've had people who couldn't measure up to what I needed in a friendship eventually. But not necessarily like a wolf in what is it? Yeah, wolf in sheep's clothing. I haven't had that problem because I normally I can sense that, and I'm like, oh, so this is what we doing.
Thank goodness. You know, because I feel, you know, it's very disheartening and, you know, sad for people that do have a whole lot of fake friends around them. First thing comes to mind for me is celebrities. You know, they probably likely have a lot of fake people around them that are just vying and trying to use them to help them get on and get famous or get rich or whatnot, you know. So that makes them much more cautious and wary. But such a toxic thing to be engaged in.
I agree. I saw this little video clip on the TikToks, and this girl, they were all going to a major like huge steakhouse situation or whatever, and she didn't have no money, but she still wanted to go. And so what she did was she went by McDonald's and pulls the McDonald's fries out of her bag at this expensive steakhouse. No. And then somebody had stitched it, which means they talked, you know, to the video and talked to us as we watching the video. And there's like, girl, that's not your friends. Because if those were your real friends, they would have either picked a different restaurant so that you could afford it, or they would have been like, nah, we got you. And so it kind of makes me be like, okay, yeah, it's just certain ways you move. Now, of course, if she always ain't got no money, then that's something different. You need to have a different conversation. But that was a little rough.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, that's disheartening.
Because I was like, I gotta go eat my food. We're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, deuces, I'll see y'all on the flip side.
The next one is fun friend. Now, the fun friend is going to be probably more like an acquaintance as well. They're the person that you normally see out at parties. You love to invite them to various events. They're normally kind of like the life of the party. They're always fun. Yeah, they're kind of like your wing person sometimes too. You know, they gonna get it jumping. Yeah.
These them friends. I've had some of these in the past. Like somebody you can just call. You'd be like, girl, let's go to, you know,
somewhere.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't even remember a lot of the places back in the day. But let's go to the library. That was a place in Dallas back in the day. You know, you just be like, let's go here. Let's do this. Let's go have drinks. You know, this is the person that, you know, is down for whatever. You know, like, hey, you know, but they have their place. You know that if you need to go out and you want to just, you know, kind of have fun and just escape from life for a moment, that this person is there to be able to do that. And you do need people like that because, you know, some friends are going to be more serious and much more emotionally driven. And some people are going to be like this would be a quality surface. You know, when we talk about what is the quality of a surface person, that would be a quality of surface. Because a fun friend is likely not going to be somebody you're going to go deep with.
No. And you do have to be mindful of the fun friend because they can tend to take it to the extremes, like with the partying, drinking a lot, doing whatever. So you do have to kind of be mindful of that, especially if that's not, if y'all are not on the same level of friendship with each other. Because wake up, you be done had a situation pop up. We ain't got time for that.
Is that true? And before Dr. Wall gets to the next one, I would also, you know, kind of remind everybody that your friend can fall in multiple categories.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that just because the person is the fun friend that they're also not the first friend. You know what I'm saying? So people can fall in multiple areas. It's not just simply one.
Definitely. Prime example, my friend Trish, she is the fun friend in every group. Everybody knows that. But she's also the forever friend. She's one of my first friends. Like she falls in like multiple categories, so you can wear multiple hats. Just make sure they fit properly.
And they transition in stages, so don't just think that as soon as you meet somebody, they get ready to fall in all categories. No, they typically start off somewhere. Even if it's just a surface friend, they typically start off somewhere.
Agreed.
The next one is my favorite. It's the fierce friend. This is the friend who you know will always have your back. So if something gonna pop off or you need somebody to come hold your hand,
girl, let's go get this.
That person.
Where you at?
Yeah.
I'm on my way.
And if you don't have one of those around you, then that person is probably you.
Yes. But make sure if you are the fierce friend, make sure you also have a fierce friend. It doesn't have to be the person that you are the fierce friend towards, but do make sure you're getting that reciprocated in some way because that position can be very draining. Reciprocal, beneficial relationships.
Yes,
all the time.
The next one is the for now friend. A for now friend is someone who you already know isn't going to stick around for the long run. Some type of circumstance brought you together. Y'all kind of have an okay vibe and, you know, you're like, hey, we're cool. But when you look back over your life, you're not going to really remember that person like that.
Those are probably work friends.
She jumped right into my head and took it right on out. See, talking about energy and vibes. But that's exactly what I was going to say. That's coworker friends. Yeah, I think that's pretty easy.
Yeah,
that's probably the easiest category. I mean, there are also, of course, other levels of, for now, friends, but the easiest one to identify will most likely be coworkers.
Yeah.
The next one is fickle friends. These friends run very hot and cold. One day they're your best friend, the next day they've distanced themselves from you. You often feel like you have some type of whiplash trying to keep up with them. I look at these people as, a lot of times you see this type of person be very territorial with you. If things don't go their way, then that dictates what type of friend they're going to be to you. So these relationships can be very toxic if you do not have firm boundaries in place.
And those are type of relationships I don't have.
Amen.
You were so matter of fact on that one. I wasn't sure if something else was coming after that.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I can't either.
I ain't gonna go into depths about those couple of relationships, but it's just too much. Like I need to know where I'm at in my relationships. I don't have to know all the specifics, but if either you riding or you got to go.
Yeah, I just get that to me makes me more combative, and I don't need nothing else making me combative. So I just
there's a protective measure that ends up coming out because there's an element of consistent rejection in those type of relationships, and that's not what you want in a friendship.
Right.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I have a friendship that was kind of like that, and setting boundaries, it was something definitely that took time to learn on how to set a boundary and communicate the frustration of that dance that happens in that relationship. So I agree with you. If you don't have firm boundaries, or you tend to forgive very often, or you are a fear abandonment and losing people, that will have you keeping a fickle friend way longer than what you probably need to.
And if you're a person that has anxiety, that will continue to drive your anxiety.
Yep. Get some stability.
Yep. The next one is familiar friend, and a familiar friend is someone who you were probably super close to at one point, and even though you aren't close anymore, they're still in your life, but you will find yourself wondering, could there be more? Am I just hanging out with this person because it's comfortable and familiar?
So I think this is one of those relationships where you have to know when to commit, and when, as you're thinking about that, you have to be mindful of being judgmental. Because there could be some reasons why you have not, or why you all have not allowed your friendship to go any further, and both of you can be afraid of committing to this friendship, and both of you could be judgmental towards one another.
Yeah,
very true.
Outgrowing.
That's that one too.
And I think the familiar friend is to kind of piggyback and add on to what you're saying, can be based in fear, of letting this person go, especially if you don't have a huge circle to begin with, you may keep this person around because they are familiar, and it's at least someone that knows me and I have a relationship with.
Yeah. And remember, you can love somebody and not be super close with them anymore. It don't mean that you wish them harm or death or something like that. It's just like, okay, I just don't rock with you like that no more, but I still got mad love for you.
And sometimes you have to do that in order to make room for a different relationship, because like we've said on several sessions, there are times in our lives, especially 4 or 5 years, 4.5 to 5 years, we start changing and we need something different. So the same thing you need this year, you may not need next year in a friendship, and it may have just taken its course.
Yep. The next one is flaky friends. This is the friend who you have to make plans with 6 times before something finally sticks. They're very inconsistent. They're not really worried about like how this affects you. And it could be because they're absent-minded, or it could just be like this is a personality flaw.
I don't have those either.
No. Thank goodness.
I think
that would be irritating.
Yeah, I think the closest that I probably have to is that, you know, when it's introvert friends and we just call each other because we know we're not going nowhere. You know, in isolation separately.
Yeah.
I think this can be difficult for long distance friends.
Yeah.
That you can, you know, kind of inadvertently become flaky friends with one another just from distance.
Yeah.
You know, because the further you are away from someone, the harder it is to maintain that relationship because you don't have that proximity, you know. But it doesn't necessarily make it bad. But I think if I had to kind of say what type of friend could easily fall into this category, it would be a long distance friendship.
I would also say single, if you're friends with a single mother, because they're not necessarily able to quickly find a babysitter or, you know, something like that.
Yeah, that's just an adjustment. That means, okay, we got to do more stuff with the kiddo, or we had to make sure we set up things well in advance, you know.
Yeah.
Adjust. The final friendship that we have is the forever friend. A forever friend is someone that you know will be around for forever. It's just the bond you have. You've been in each other's lives for a while through all these ups and downs. It's just when we talk about you have that chemistry, or what I've been hearing a lot of is that you have a soulmate in a friend. That's your forever friend. Like stuff can go on, y'all can maybe fall out, but you know y'all always gonna be there for each other. You may just need a little cool down time, and then you can come back.
Yeah. No, I like that.
I had one friend come to mind instantly, but I will not go into any detail at all. But I agree. I would say I have a couple of maybe 2 or 3 people in mind that I would say are forever friends, you know, and I think all of us need those people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because those are the ones that are going to pretty much probably fit all of the categories at one point in time in various degrees, and give you all of the stuff that you need, you want, and you don't want.
And that's important.
And that's what your tribe is made up of.
Yeah, it's not always rainbows, unicorns, kicks, and giggles. Like you need your friendships to be able, like I said earlier, to challenge you, to help you grow, and you got to do the work. But they can, you know, light that flame. I know that I tend to be a motivator, you know, for a lot of people. But I also have to make sure that I have my own motivators, because I'll be looking up, giving everything to somebody, and I'm not getting any of that in return.
Yeah, I think for me, I am a healer, obviously, because I'm a therapist, and I'm also a motivator. I think we have to find friends that we have to find friends to help us to begin to love ourselves. Because if you don't have those type of friends in your life that can be your cheerleader, but can also give you some criticism with love and still help you to respect yourself, while also helping them to respect themselves as they're giving you this criticism, you know, that you don't have the right people in your life if those are not the friendships or relationships you have in your life. You have to have all of those, because you have to be able to love yourself. You have to be able to do some self-reflections when you have those type of people in your life.
Yeah, something that I use with my clients a lot, and we talked about this when we discussed lines in the sand, which was the boundary session, is I came up with something called circles of trust. And so you have, you know, your inner circle, the smallest circle, inner circle, and that's just you and whoever your higher power is. But then you have all these other circles around that circle, and you have to recognize where you need to place everybody in your life, whatever type of friend they are, because if you put them in the wrong spot, it is going to mess up everything around you. It's going to mess up your homeostasis. It's going to mess up how you're seeing the world, and then it becomes more work than it's worth. And I don't know if y'all ever had that experience, but ain't nobody trying to do that.
Yeah. When you have people in the wrong spot, you can definitely feel a different kind of way about yourself, and it's not healthy.
Not at all.
Not at all. Wow.
Yeah. So that's how we build our tribe, y'all.
I don't know if there's anything else that we can add. It's discernment.
Yes.
Go back and listen to the session on discernment. I can't remember the title, but it's in the description box.
She said something creative.
But I think there's a level of discernment that happens, and just as a reminder, it's not just about adding to your circle on when we talk about building. It's about placement. It's about adding, placement, and withdrawal. All of those.
Yes.
So you're going to have to make adjustments all around to build the quality team, the quality, people in your life, so that you can feel and believe and know that the people that you have there are supposed to be there.
Yeah. One thing I just want to add is we do want to give a big thank you to our squad team, which is our family.
Okay, interns.
Interns. And we haven't done this in a while. It just popped up in my head. I do want to make sure we give a shout out to all the countries and states that are following us. Giving a shout out to the Philippines, Sweden, Canada, Sudan, Puerto Rico, Italy, Guyana, Kuwait, Serbia, United Arab Emirates, Germany, Ireland, Australia, the United Kingdom, India, France, Netherlands, and United States. And almost all 50 states are following us. And we just want to thank all of y'all for rocking with us almost for a year.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, intern. So, we typically kind of end off trying to, leave you with some, nice rounded up knowledge, but nuggets. So, we got 2 nuggets for you today. So we want you to remember, that everybody in your circle is not in your corner. But to say that in a much more eloquent way, we have, as I said, the word eloquent wrong. Dr. Jones-Hines will take us on out.
So our quote for today is by Alex L. Surround yourself with people who add value to your life, who challenge you to be greater than you were yesterday, who sprinkle magic into your existence, just like you do theirs. Life isn't meant to be done alone. Find your tribe and journey freely and loyally together.
Must be this volume control.
So, okay, interns, process your notes. Be sure to catch us next session and find us on all major platforms at The Recycled Podcast.
If you're a new intern, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Thanks for listening. And remember, we are shifting and reshaping our psyche through healing conversations and connections, one discussion at a time.